Hello guys and girls, how's it going? Screezilla here and I hope you're all well. And welcome to possibly the most OP vehicle in the game at the moment. The AMX 30 DC-Armageddon. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Does this thing absolutely murder. 7.3 BR. Radar. Yes. 7.3 with radar. Sacre bleu. This is how you say overpowered. Now, I can see this being up tiered to 7.7, not 6.7, 7.7 in the very near future. It was actually dropped down to 7.3 with the AMX 30, the standard AMX 30s, just because of the chassis and stuff like that. But yeah, right now you have twin 30mm with, when it's unlocked, high velocity 110mm penetrating rounds with the capability of radar, which means that you can lock onto your targets. What does that mean? Well, it means that when you see an enemy aircraft, you can click on it and you get the aim indicator that you get in arcade mode. Now, this is kind of something that we wanted for these radar tanks, because, well, radar should do more than just give away your position, because currently all this, well, beforehand, all this radar dish did was make it easier for you to be spotted, because it was a giant blinking sort of, oh look, I am here. Especially on the Flakpanzergeparden type something or other, 80, type 80, type 81. Anyway, on those two vehicles. Now, of course, in this replay we aren't going to see the lead indicator, I don't think, which is a bit unfortunate. I don't know, actually, we'll wait and see. Anyway, we have a Horton here, and this was the bane of my existence. The Horton is the one plane that I could not shoot down. I just struggled with this thing. I really hate Hortons in general, just because they're so bloody tricky to hit. I fry my guns pretty much on this thing, overheat it, and have to sort of reload and get them cooled down and change the barrels and things like that. You know, it just, Hortons are a pain in the ass to hit, just because they're so flat. So the Horton does have a slight advantage if it plays smart. Everything else, however, is pretty much bollocksed. So we've got two planes here. Let's just pop oh, interesting, we can't show the enemy markers in replay anymore. So, oh, there we go. We've actually got the indicator now. So this Horton here is coming round. I'm keeping an eye on him. I'm hoping to get his flat side, get a couple of shots off and hit him, but everything manages to just bypass that plane. It's almost like it's got protection on. However, this ME410, I think it was an ME410, yes, did not have such luck. As you saw there, just spun around and killed it instantly, annihilated it, wiped it out of the game. The ME410 set fire to a Centurion, but that was all, so it didn't do too much damage. It was pretty much taken out before it could start doing the main damage in the game. Is this balanced? No, not really. Because, well, it is balanced if you're up-tiered, but if you're down-tiered, it's not. And I guess you could say that about all the AAA, but then all the radar AAA are pretty much 8.0, so, you know, they're going to be facing 7.0 things, and the only AAA at sort of that BR that hasn't got radar technology is the goodbye, Mr. Arado. And that's a dangerous target taken out early on. That could have really caused damage. It's just... It almost... It makes you feel dirty sometimes. Almost, I say. But, yeah, you just absolutely annihilate things. As I was saying, you know, the problem is, well... AAA is very unbalanced as it is, because some of the AAA vehicles in-game are very, very good for anti-aircraft, others are very good for anti-tank. Having this lead indicator does make things a lot easier. It's not an instant win button, but it pretty much does make it a lot harder for the enemy plane to survive. Getting some shots off here. I think it's the Horton again. I'm not too sure. And again, I just completely miss every shot on that guy. Just cannot hit Hortons for some reason. But then you can say a similar thing of, well, at this BR, the Germans have jet fighters. They have jet bombers. They've got the Arado. They've got the Horton. And the Allied teams, they really don't have much to go up against those vehicles. You know, we didn't have a single jet in our lineup to fight these guys. So you could say that's kind of unbalanced as well. And yes, these were early war jets. The Horton is not. The Horton is a prototype and should not be... Well, it should be a higher BR, in all honesty. It shouldn't be something... It should not be in where it is, because it's too... It's a bit too good, in my opinion. And because it's a... You know, it was a prototype, it never really actually... Well, it did fly technically, but it never flew in combat. There's no data of it. It is very overpowered. It's nigh on impossible to hit with general anti-aircraft guns. You could sort of say, well, okay, this is a good countermeasure for it. The fact that when you're fighting Germans, you're fighting Arados constantly, which do just decimate because they're so fast. Your normal AAA vehicles of this BR, their turret rotation is so slow they can't deal with jets. They weren't made to deal with jet fighters. They weren't made to deal with jets in general. They were made to deal with props, and generally slow props. So we have I think it's a TA up there now, and we'll try and do some shots. And again, I'm not the greatest shot out there. I'm getting a lot of dispersion from my guns, and starting a reload now, so this guy has got lucky. I'm also using the high velocity belt, the HVAC belt, which is probably not the best for aircraft because it only has it's got the AP, the high velocity AP, and just one HE shell. So realistically, for aircraft, you've got to hit them spot on to do much damage. So it's not really the best belt for aircraft. It's okay, but it's not the best. But even so, with this lead indicator, it is meaning that I'm getting some good kills with these guns. So this guy has stalled in front of me, and I'm still reloading. I'm just wishing I had that reload done already. Almost there. Any second now, we will be reloaded. I'm just doing a check because I heard something. Reloaded, he's coming in. Stop firing because of the LA7. coming almost straight at me. And goodbye, Mr. Goodbye, Mr. Focke-Wulf 190. Sorry, it was a Focke-Wulf 190, not a TA. It's a little bit hard to tell sometimes when just looking at planes. Of course, the TA was the next version of the Focke-Wulf 190. Just longer wings and slightly different designs. Anyway, we have 3 plane kills now, all relatively easy. Pretty much just simple plane kills, in all honesty. We've done pretty well there. We've cleared the sky of the enemy. The Arado was the major threat, because that thing would have taken out probably one of our heavy tanks with ease. It would have been a revenge kill, so it would have known where somebody was. So taking that out is a big deal. If you can take out the Arados early on, that really does help out. So yeah, it is really, really... you know, I can't say it is balanced, because when every other AAA vehicle at this BR is a World War II variant of the vehicles with no tracking systems. Well, I say that, some of them did have tracking systems, some of them did have early analog tracking systems and things like that, but generally they were, you know, sort of they were very early war. Now there is a tank in B, and we're trying to figure out what it is. Well, I say I'm trying to figure out what it is, because if it's anything that's a Tiger or something, I could possibly take it out from behind if I'm very lucky. If it's a Panther, I can take it out from the side without any problem. But if it's anything big, I could be in trouble. So I'm trying to see where it is. I'm trying to spot this guy before it spots me. I'm looking out for it. I can't really see anything. But we need to make sure B does not get capped, because we will lose pretty quickly. I can't see anything over there, so it must be in the forest area. So I'm going to take cover around this house. There is a 262, which we try to take out just quickly before we get there, because that can cause us a bit of grief. But there is a waffle trader. So the Waffen trader is sitting there, side on to us, I think, or back to us, and that is the end of the Waffen trader. There we go, we've taken that guy out with relative ease, and that is good. He was the only one in B, so that's B safe and sound for us, which plays an important part for this game. So we're going to sit here for a little bit, and it looks like the 262's gone down somewhere or disappeared. Just trying to look at the kill feed. And of course, with the new sounds as well, it is a bit tricky, because you do hear planes quite well, so it's a bit unnerving sometimes, because you're not sure if it's an ally or an enemy. So you've really got to keep your eyes open. Now we are running a bit low on ammunition here, so we're going to start heading into B and start recapping it as well. I'm really keeping an eye out for planes here. Now we've got I think it's an Arado coming in. I think, or it's an ME-424. No, it's the ME-410, sorry. But luckily our fighters are all over it, like ants on jam, and he's not going to last very long. So there we go, the ME-410 is down, and we're going to move in and provide some air support for B, basically, because this is dangerous now, because an Arado could come in here now and absolutely stop us from capping. Now we've got a T-29 in here, and we've got a Tortoise to the left of us, So we've got some good support. See some enemy fire over there. I look over there and there is something sitting over there. Don't know what it is, but I can see something. So decide to just take a few pot shots at it and just see if we can cause a little bit of damage, or at least spot it. And we move into cover quickly. Not sure what it was, but we did manage to hit the track of it. So we did manage to do something. We managed to scare it at least. But we're going to keep the rest of our ammo ready for a plane just in case it comes. So we're recapturing B now. I'm sort of keeping behind these houses and trying to keep safe because that SPG could cause me a bit of bother. And I also want to make sure that I'm actually not in a position that I can't attack enemy aircraft when they come in. So I've got to sort of be ready for that. I'm sort of scouting around, just trying to keep an eye out for any enemy planes that are around, of course. So just keeping an eye out for that. But yeah, this is really a conundrum because, well, what do we do in this situation? This tank is definitely going to cause some problems for this BR because it is just so powerful with that tracking radar. But at the same time, there are planes that cause all the other AAA vehicles a lot of bother because they're so fast. So you can't really lower the BR of the other AAA vehicles because they're too strong. Imagine a Shilka at this level, it would just take out most of the tanks. But at the same time, could up this to 7.7, as I said, it wouldn't be too much of a problem. This thing does fine at 7.7. You're still going to get down tiered in matches, you're still going to be fighting similar sort of planes and similar players, but then you are going to get up tiered to 8.7 games, which is where it becomes problematic again. This AAA is okay at that range. I mean, when I actually unlocked it, I was taking out more tanks with this than I was with my AMX 30B. Sorry, AMX 30. 1972. This thing is better than the actual tanks, which is just ludicrous, really, because when you're on the move, it has better stabilization for the guns, for one, and secondary, it actually does damage post-penetration, so it's better than the actual tanks, which is hilarious. I actually, just recording this, I've just seen on my YouTube feed that Fly has actually just posted a video about this tank, saying something, it should be illegal. So I'll have to watch that video in a minute. So yeah, that should be interesting to see. It's not just me that's noticed this BR change then, obviously. But it really does make a difference, because this thing, you only need one or two of these in a match, and you're going to keep the sky clear of enemy planes, and you're going to keep the sky clear of Arados, which are the biggest problem at this BR for any allied team. Of course, the French also fight with the Germans, and in that case, you're going to keep the sky clear of Sky Raiders. You're going to keep the sky clear of all of those planes, which again are very problematic, but they're much slower, and they can be dealt with by normal AAA. They're not sort of a big problem like the Arado is, like a Jet is, for a hand rotated AAA turret. You know, it's not as big of a deal, really. So yeah, it will be interesting to see. Sorry, I got hiccups. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Gaijin do to this. Whether they just keep it there or if they up it. Now the F6Fs there are back in the sky. And keeping our eyes out in the clouds just in case anything appears. Also keeping an eye out for tanks as well. Now the game is running to its conclusion here. We actually we've got an Arado coming in now. So this is the big problem here, the Arados. So call out to the team that there's an Arado. Get ready to start blasting away at this thing. Now we'll just pause here and we'll actually switch to this Arado's view. So as you see, big old Arado, all of a sudden the AAA starts coming in. And we blast a hole through that thing's wings. We don't get the kill, but we do absolutely punish it. So this plane is not going to be very flyable now. We've just completely taken out those wings. So that is the Arado done for, pretty much. It's not going to be nice to fly. This guy does an amazing job keeping it in the air, in all honesty. Trying his best to get those bombs out, but if he was not damaged, I imagine he would have done a lot more damage to us. Now the F6Fs are also on this guy as well. So he knows he's in a lot of trouble here. Now he does try and get bombs out on that T-29, but just misses terribly, straight in the water. So we didn't do enough damage to really cause the real big issue here. Now I was reloading at this stage. So he crashes into the tree, drops his bomb, and kills the F6F. So he does a good job there. He did well. Nice play there by him. But ultimately he did no real effect on the game other than killing that one plane. And that's the thing, is we've basically kept the skies clear. We've got 4 plane kills. The only plane we didn't kill was that Horton. And that was it. Everything else was taken out pretty much instantly. We even killed that Waffenträger. So we did well. We ended up winning this game, and of course we ended up getting bugger all research points and things like that, because, you know, that's how War Thunder works. That's another kettle of fish I'll get into at some stage. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think this is overpowered? Do you think it needs to be up-tiered? Do you think it's okay at where it is? Do you like the new aiming system? Do you like the radar system? Because you have to remember what this radar system did was it actually gave... it was actually a guidance system for the weapon. It actually let you lock onto the planes and it would self-guide. So it sort of is a homage to that system, because if we had the actual lock-on auto-aim system, then it would be a lot harder for planes and a lot easier for SBAA, because these systems were very, very good. At that altitude, I would have taken out all those planes pretty much instantly, because the computer would have worked out exactly where everything was with the radar. So this does make it a little bit harder, but it does also make it a whole lot easier as well. So yeah, I don't know, I'm in sort of two minds about it. I like it, but I don't like it. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think, and I will see you next time. This is Squeezer out. Bye bye.